through some of the tight selection calls you made and what you've come up with?
A few different changes to the side that last played against the Blues. Stephen Moore comes back into the starting side, and he'll also be the captain for the weekend. Rob Simmons will start in his last game at Suncorp Stadium as a Red, and he'll be starting at blindside flanker. Other changes we've made, Samu Crevery obviously got injured against the Blues. He's returned to training, so he's very close to playing, but just wasn't right for this weekend. So Campbell Magnay will start at 13, and Isaiah Parisi comes back from the Under-20s World Cup and will start on the wing.
Blindside flanker for Simo.
Yeah, listen, Higgers is out injured. He's had a bit of a neck complaint all year, stirred that up in the last test match he played, and once again was close, like he trained non-contact. Don't worry about that, he's contracted. Non-contact the other day, so he's close, but just with the neck and the physical nature of rugby, that means he won't be able to play this weekend. So Rob Simmons will start at 6, George will be open side flanker, and Adam Korchik will be the last member of the back row.
So he'll be playing 8?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So Henrik Tui, has he been released back to?
No, Hendricks came back. He got injured over playing for Japan. He's got a rib injury and also a shoulder complaint.
So Kutcher has played 8?
He's played 8 through under-20s, through a bit of club. Listen, we'll be a bit inventive with a few things we do there. George Smith's got some pretty good skills and has played 8 before, so we'll use him at 8 at times.
In scrums?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So do you think the Reds have misjudged Rob Simmons' abilities all through these? Finally got it right?
Finally got it right, playing him on the side of the scrum. No, listen, Simo, it's great. I was always going to include him in the 23 for this weekend. Really important to acknowledge the contribution he's made to this team over such a long period, and getting a chance to run on against against the Brumbies, but more importantly against his running on in front of his family and friends was important. And by playing him at 6 gives us a really tall forward pack. The Brumbies are very build a lot of their game off their set piece, and in particular their line out. So by having Simo, Kane and Isaac Rodder in the forward pack gives us some really tall timber to attack their line out.
We'll ask him in a sec, but has he played there before?
Yeah, he's played. He's played Test rugby at 6. I'm pretty sure, and also he's played some games for the Reds, I believe, as well. So the good thing about Simo is very athletic, gets around the field really well. He'll be able to carry the ball a little bit wider at times through the game, which suits his athleticism.
Do you expect Samo might play next week?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well,
So
nothing's ever definite, is it?
Yeah,
but,
all things going well,
just to
yeah.
clarify that, listen, he trained well. Crap is really happy with him, and it would be good for him to get a game in before he then goes into Test series.
And Hunt obviously at 15?
Carmichael at 15.
Yeah, okay.
So obviously news the last couple of days that Campbell's heading overseas to Japan, so will he be back in next Super Rugby season?
Oh, he's not contracted at this stage for next year. It's something that he's definite that he's wants to come back to the Queensland Reds, and would obviously like to have him back here. We've invested 3 years of a lot of hard work from the backroom staff and the medical staff in particular to get his body right. And to be honest, I don't feel we've got reward out of him yet on field, and Campbell feels that way as well. And he ideally would come back here and play Super Rugby next year, but there's still a lot to go on for that to happen.
Did you have a discussion with him as to the advantages of staying here and playing an RC compared to going to Japan?
Of course. Of course you don't want to see a 21-year-old footballer with as much talent that he has heading overseas at that age. It's unfortunate, but you're seeing it more and more. Shawnee McMahon, I think, is doing the same. Liam Gill left at a young age, so it's something that does pop up more often now. And if we can understand the fluid nature of rugby, that we can still say to Cam, okay, we're not happy about you going, but we'd love to see you back and see what we can work out.
What's his motivations in going? Have you spoken to him?
Sushi, Suntory, fantastic team. Listen, I don't know what his motivation is. He says he wants to play football games. But anyway, I can't control what he does.
Might just take a couple more, guys, because we've got 2 more to get
Just,
through.
I know it's an ongoing issue, but will Genia, now that the AOU have actually signed something, I don't know
Have
if it
they?
changes anything, but does it change anything?
It doesn't change anything for us at all. I think you've written really well about it, Wayne. Really educated on it. That it's an ARU matter. Our stance is pretty clear. We've got 3 halfbacks on the books, and it's not up for us to make any more decisions on that.
Interview with new flanker Rob Simmons. Does this feel like the start of a new career, Simon? Or?
Oh, mate, I've played there plenty of times.
Yeah.
All of 3, I think.
When was the last time?
The very last time was a change mid-game from second row to 6, and someone went off here at the Reds, but I started against Italy in
In a test?
Yeah, in a test.
Okay.
What is that, back at
13, I think.
Over in,
Yeah.
yeah.
In
Okay.
Italy.
How'd that go? Obviously well, because we don't lose to them.
Yeah, it was good fun actually. I learned a lot, and I think it actually helped my game as a second rower as well. Scott Fardy had a head knock that game, and we worked closely that week, and it was interesting. I learned a lot. It was now I get to play against him, I suppose.
So what does the future hold for you?
It's a bit unknown at the moment. I still quite motivated to try and get back in that gold jersey, and we've got to see what happens and see what my options are.
Have you had any nibbles since sort of the news that the Reds wouldn't be keeping you on came out?
Yeah, there's interest everywhere basically, but there's a lot of unknowns until that decision's made. There's it's obviously all over the media already that who knows what's happening out there really. It's they need to make a few decisions so other people can make decisions.
Far be it from me to be controversial, but Jeff Parling gets signed for the Rebels. So he's a 33-year-old test lock from overseas. Mm-hmm. Okay, he might have played for the British Lions, but is something wrong in the Australian recruitment when overseas locks, 33-year-old locks, are being signed ahead of 28-year-old Wallabies?
I don't know. Locks are. It's a tough position to play. It's it helps a whole squad when you've got your mixed experience with young guys. So I don't know what their plans are down there with that signing, but he's a great guy to learn off, and I'm sure he'll bring a lot of experience to teach some young locks coming through.
I see the Waratahs have signed Tom Staniforth. Are you on their horizons at all?
Listen, mate, I don't really know. It's a tough one. We've had a chat with a few people, but it is tough. There's so many unknown factors out there with all the other clubs, so we'll see what happens.
What are your feelings about getting this chance to start in a final game at Suncorp Stadium?
Yeah, it's exciting actually. I don't know. It has brought a bit of new life playing a new position in that final game at Suncorp, but I'm really excited. Get to reflect back on what's happened in my time here and the friendships I've made, and that's the most exciting part is those friendships I've made, and now I get a few of them to come support me or play along beside me in this game.
I presume you would have expected, this relationship to keep going. Now that it's coming to an abrupt end, what are you feeling?
It hurt. It wasn't great, but you don't really assume anything, and when you're off contract, everything's possible. But yeah, I stated my intent that I was keen to try and help and stay a few more years to try and turn things around here. But it became out of my decision, and so I move on.
Scotty Higginbotham proved that you can turn around Michael Checker's opinion of players. I mean, are you confident you can turn Checker around?
Yeah, well, that's a prime example. I'm not giving up. Basically, I've spoken closely to Check, and he said the same thing. Good. It's a bit like all sport. A few wins can solve everything. A few good games is a bit the same for a player.
Yeah. But what did he want of you? More physicality? Is that he wants more physicality from everyone?
Yeah, that's right. It seems to be for everyone, but that's right. A bit more physicality, a bit more leg drive in attack, and trying to get my hands on the ball a bit more.
Top 10 at international speak and now sort of top 2 in Super Rugby.
Yeah, well, I think if you hang around long enough, you start to rack up those type of things. But it's good to see so many front rowers up the top there, mate. That's the main thing.
Good to see Rob back in the starting side as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's been well documented. You know, this is Rob's last home game, and he's given tremendous service to Queensland rugby, and he deserves a good send off, and that means a good performance from the players, and you know that's got to mean something to us to send him off in the right fashion.
You must have been in the side when he came in, were you?
Yeah, I was. Yep. Can't remember what year it was, but I was certainly here. 09 was the first year. Yep. Yeah. So. Yeah, I remember when he came into the team, and he was always very talented and a big lad like he is now. So he's had a great career, done very well. Obviously, played a lot of games for Australia, so he can look back on his time here and be very satisfied.
What's it like coming from a Wallabies camp to back to Super, just play 2 games and then go back to Wallabies? What is that? Is it a bit of just like a holding pattern, or what does it sort of feel like in terms of your preparation?
No, I think it is what it is. You just get into it. Like we got back here on Sunday, and a few line-out calls you have to remember again and things like that. Obviously, those kind of things, you still got the Wallabies calls in your head, and you quickly snap back into the way the Reds play and the line-out calls and all that sort of stuff. So aside from that, it's fine. You know, it's good to be back around the group. They've worked really hard through June. Players who weren't involved with the tests, and we're looking forward to playing this weekend. But ideally, you'd have Super Rugby, all in one block, and then you'd have your test. But I know that a lot of people have had a bit to say about that, and they're working on it. They're trying to fix that, but it's it involves a lot of different people in the Northern Hemisphere and down here.
What's your take on a guy of 21 years of age in Campbell Magno going to play in Japan? Is it a sign of just what modern rugby's like? I can't imagine anyone when you were 21 going to play overseas at that age.
Yeah, I didn't even know that actually.
Right.
Yeah, so that's the first I've heard of it.
He's going to Suntory at the end of the season, yeah.
Okay.
So, is it, I guess, a sign that I'm not sure what his motivations are, but what are your thoughts, like your initial thoughts on it now that you've just heard it?
Yeah, well, I think it'd be important to ask him that, but for me, it's I don't know what's going on there in the background, so it's always disappointing to lose a quality young player. That's no matter who it is.
So just back on Sam mentioning the Wallabies, you voiced your concerns at the end of the series about the whole fitness side of things. Checked in too, has there been extra programs for test blokes since you've returned to provincial stuff? Yeah,
the Wallaby coaches were here Sunday, Monday, and we did some extra work there, so I think that'll continue for the next 6 weeks or however long there is till that first Bledisloe Cup match, and that's important. We didn't want to be in that situation where we did have to top players up at this stage of the year, but we are, so we just have to work as hard as we can now to make sure we're as well prepared as we can be for that test match. So I think if you look at the big picture, you'd like to probably work that stuff in earlier in the season, and I know there's some discussions to make sure that happens.
But sounds like it's not going to be a problem again, the problem that we just had maybe before the June series?
Well, you never know until the games happen, so all I know is that there's a plan now right up until that first game, and there's going to be some camps and some extra work and things like that to make sure that we're as best prepared as we can be for those games. So that's what's important now.
I mean, Czech pushes you guys very hard when you're in training, and it's always very physical. Are you concerned that you're going to be living it on the training field and get to the 60-minute mark against the All Blacks and just have no legs left?
I think there's a plan around that. So it's a fine line between training hard in test weeks and obviously recognising the weeks when you're in camps and things like that. And I know Czech's got a pretty clear plan around the camps that we don't have test matches and how much work we do in those weeks as opposed to game weeks, and that stuff's all done in the S&C space, and the coaches work pretty hard on making sure that the loadings are what they should be. And I think the thing is that I think there was a recognition that the loadings probably weren't where they needed to be going into that June series. So that's the cold and hard facts of it, and we needed to work a bit harder. So
was that across the squad, or was it just?
I think just across a number of teams and players. So when they look at all that data, they make decisions based on that and make sure that we're training at the intensity we need to be at. So it's important that that's been recognised, and when there's a plan now, and we've got a block of time now where we can work on it.
Have the Lions given you guys any secrets to playing the All Blacks? I don't imagine you can just whistle up rain and 14 men whenever you want to, but...
Well, rain usually over there. You can sort of rely on that sometimes, but I think it was a very interesting test match, obviously with the red card and them taking off a back rower and all those tactical things. And I thought the Lions really fronted up well. I thought both teams played well. It was a great test match, and I think just once again the small moments decided it. And interesting, you don't often see New Zealand outscored 2 tries to none. So I think Warren Gatlin spoke about that and the need to, and Warburton as well, the need to score tries in those kind of games, and they showed that they could do that.
The Lions, well, they've been accused of fringing offside all the time. Is that? I would have thought that maybe the All Blacks do a bit of that as well. But is that a problem in Test rugby these days? Teams just creeping up.
Well, I guess it's up to the referees and the touch judges to make sure it doesn't happen. So outside of that, you do what you can.
Good. Sounds like Christian Leali'ifano might be on the bench for the Brumbies. How good's that, basically?
Yeah, I think take this game, all the game out of it. It's just fantastic to see him back playing rugby, and I think we've just had Jeff Horn here. When you see people like that doing those kind of things, it inspires everybody. And I've had a lot to do with Christian and played a lot of footy with him, so I know the type of character he is, and he'll really lift the team, having him in and around the team again and back playing rugby. I think he played 4th grade on the weekend for Tuggeranong, and just wonderful to see him back out there playing and healthy again.
Can you believe it? I think it's been 11 months. It's a pretty remarkable feat to get back to Super Rugby level in that time.
Yeah, it is. It's incredible. And it's a big inspiration for anyone going through tough times or adversity or ill health, whatever it is, that if you want something enough and you work hard, you can achieve it. So just really proud of him, the way he's bounced back from it. And I think it's great. Everyone around the world has acknowledged that, how special that is.
He seems to have resonated with a lot of people. It really showed how much he connected himself with a lot of people before even this event happened. Because what's come back to him has been very genuine, and he's got a lot of friends around the place.
Yeah, I think he was always a very popular guy and a very valued teammate even before he got sick, and I think this has only enhanced that, the way he's fought through this, and really galvanised the people around him, and I think just got on with it and got back to play footy. And I think whenever you have an injury, you just want to get back and do what you love again, and he's shown that through the illness that he's had, he's been able to do that, which is massively inspirational.
You had a fair bit to do with the Brumbies when they were basically walloping Queensland. Is there a particular reason why they get up so dramatically for Queensland games, or?
I think if you look at the history of the games, it's the 80-minute performance, so even look at the game earlier in the year, we were pretty level at half-time, and I thought we did a lot of good stuff in that first half, and then most of our errors were made in the second half. So we need to make sure we try and replicate, firstly start the game well, but then continue that right through to the death, because we know the Brumbies will be prepared to do that.
Okay, we better call it there, guys.
No worries.
Thanks,
Cheers. Thanks, mate. Jeff, just on behalf of the Reds, mate, we're very proud Queensland team and very proud of everything you did on the weekend. A lot of us were there at the fight, and I think you made all Queenslanders very proud with the way you really dug in and showed that real Queensland spirit. So we just got a jersey here for you on behalf of the team.
Oh.
Hopefully you can add it to your collection,
with
mate.
my name on and everything. That's brilliant. Thank
Well
you
done,
very
mate.
much.
No worries.
That's awesome.
And Jeff, the Reds playing the Brumbies on Friday night. Sending off Rob will be important, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Final game. Hopefully they can get the win and lift for the occasion.
And obviously the other night, all Queenslanders were in your corner, weren't they? And
yeah, definitely. The Queenslanders were all behind me on the day, and I'm going to get behind these guys when they have their not fight, but their game against the Brumbies.
actually, could we get a bit it could get serious, couldn't it?
Yeah, it's always
your old team.
Yeah, that's right. It's always a big game, the local derbies, and the Brumbies are in the finals, but it's our last home game, so it means a lot to the players after we've had a bit of a break to come out and show everyone what it means to us.